Good morning, everybody. Reporting live. Well, if you're watching it, it's not live, but I am live right now from day 3 of Veecon in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana. We have a big day today recording on the podcast. We have Bilyeu. We have Sara Buxton from Gala Games, Gala Music, and we have Pollak from Coinbase. And later today, some dude named Gary Vee will hopefully bless us with his presence. We have a lot going on. Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer dude, is on right now telling us that cats are much smarter than dogs. That's the alpha coming out of this one. We're excited. You're excited. Let's do this.
You ready, bro?
Live. We're sliding into day 3. Ready? 3,
Two,
1.
Oh boy.
There we go.
Oh boy.
We're sliding into day 3 at Veecon, everybody. Here we go.
Made it.
Did you catch that?
What's up, everybody? It is day 3, and we haven't done our official day 3 drop yet. I am with my homie, my co-host, Mr. Chris Adamo. Chris, how was last night for you?
Last night was epic. What an epic evening. We had a great time here. The comedy was on fire.
Gary Vee got roasted hard by Andrew Schultz.
Wow, roasted. I was laughing. That was a great time, and people were digging it. Totally.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. A little brand bashing, and I'm not going to go too deep into that one. And we had a great night, and we'll leave it at that. But what do we have lined up for today, Chris Adamo?
Big day, big day. Our homie Deepak Chopra is going to kick off for us. Guy Raz is on later. We got a whole bunch of people. Avery, we got Fonz, we got Jeff Carvalho, we got stacked speaker lineup. Shira's on.
Bobby Hundreds.
Bob, that was yesterday, but maybe see him again. Oh, double up. This is amazing. I'm pumped for today, man. This has been a great time. We just slid into day 3, right behind us. What a vibe. They should bring us here for full time.
They should have a permanent one. So this is it, folks. We're gonna finish strong, and we're gonna have a fantastic day. How you feeling?
Fabulous.
We're feeling pretty good. Catch you in a little bit. So on the other side of the main activation on the field, probably from the 40-yard line over, they have some of the brand activations. We have Gala Music over there. We're going to be interviewing the CEO, Sara Buxton, a little bit later today. We have the Bud Light activation. There's a couple of cool Bud Light things. And we're going to go find my friend Liam, who's over at the Lids station. So let's go creep up on Liam and see what he's up to over here. I think he's probably getting a custom hat. I see him. I'm going to get this mic right in his face. So Liam brought his dad, but I don't see his dad here. Where is Liam's dad? Where's Liam's dad? We're playing a game. We're playing a game called Where's Liam's Dad? And podcast alumni himself. You are alumni.
I am alumni.
Tell everyone who you are, man.
My name is Liam Darmody, and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm here with my pops, and big fan of the podcast, and Mr. Posner right here.
Let's talk about the experience you're having with your dad. Do you generally have a good, close relationship with your dad?
Yeah. He was. My parents split up, so he was kind of like a brother and a dad at the same time. So we've been pretty tight for a pretty long time, and I've been talking about Web3 for 3 years, and he has no idea what that is. And he's into crypto, but he's not into the NFT stuff. So yeah. I wanted to bring him to this and show him the magic.
But this is, different than last year. This is definitely more marketing oriented, in my opinion. Yeah. Much more of a mix. And tell us about how's your dad. What's he feeling? What's he thinking? What's he saying? And we'll find him later. We'll get Dad on film.
Yeah, he's sitting over there. I had to get another cup of coffee, but I think he's starting to piece things together. I think for him it's interesting because actually the visuals of it, like the art, and hearing like people like Gloria Van Leeuw talk and hearing Snowfro talk.
So you went up to the artist panels.
Yeah, we did some of the artist panels, so he was able to get some of that sense. The business sense, I think he connects still, but I think he's still trying to piece it all together. But he's eager to learn, which is all that matters, right? And all you got to do is show up and learn. And piece by piece, he's asked me questions about stuff when it happens, and I'm like, dude, you're getting this. You're starting to pick it up. So
you guys bonding pretty hard, broing out?
Yeah, it's good. We've had a lot of really good conversations. It's one of the reasons I just want to come. I mean, I haven't been 4 days away from my kids in 6 years.
Wow, and this is dad time. So. Were you at Jesse Itzer's speech last year?
I was not. I missed it last year.
So Jesse Itzer last year talked about something that really resonated with me. Our parents are getting older. We're getting older. Yeah. Time is ticking. And it's not about the number. It's not about like, all right, we're going to go see my parents once a year. It's the quality of the time and taking more of an effort, making more of an effort to spend more time with our parents because they're going to get old. And he tells the story of his dad getting Alzheimer's and eventually passing away. And that really resonated with me. Right? He played the video. It was incredible. How are you feeling about the overall NFT market, man? I know you got a bunch in your wallet. You're generally a pretty bullish person in this space, but how are you feeling right now?
I think that we had a big boom, just like you have big booms when things are starting to fly, and and now we're back down to earth a little bit. And I think there's going to be, Gary's always said 90% of them are going to fail, and you're going to have 10% that remain. And I think VeeFriends is absolutely going to be one of those. I think Yuga Labs obviously is going to be one of those. Handful of others. I think Deadfellas has a good chance.
World of Women, I think, is going to keep it going.
I definitely think World of Women will as well. I think Pudgy Penguins, what Luca Netz is doing is amazing. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for those folks. But me, man, I'm bigger into like the technology behind it. I'm super pumped about the utility of NFTs, the functionality behind it. Like when I'll be able to buy a ticket on an airplane and then just sell it to you because I can't go anymore.
Right, you don't have to go through bullshit like Delta and try to transfer it and everything. But I mean, there might be some security risks. But generally speaking, I think that's a great use case.
Yeah. If we can figure out stuff like that, our lives become so much easier, and we can all, make a little money off of an open market that's truly open. And I think that's what I'm most pumped about is the blockchain functionality and the NFT functionality. I think people get confused about what NFTs are. Everybody thinks they're just cartoon JPEGs and like
the right-click save.
Right. But what they really are is the technology behind what those represent, right? And,
Yes.
and that's what I think people need to be mindful of. We're in the early stage.
They do, but I also think the key to mass adoption is the fact that most people don't need to know how the sausage is made. It's going to be behind the scenes, and I think you look at Starbucks with the Odyssey project. You look at Nike with Artifact. Like you don't need to know how the sausage is made, just that the sausage is delicious and it tastes good. So speaking of tasting good, give us your hot take review on St. Elmo's the other night.
Dude, St. Elmo's was fantastic. It was a fantastic
What'd you have?
experience. We had the shrimp cocktail, which blew my
We're
mind.
fucking spicy.
Literally blew my mind.
They forgot to bring it.
That was amazing. We had oysters Rockefeller. Had a blue cheese wedge salad, which is my favorite.
I love all right, so here's the deal. I love a wedge salad. I think it's kind of like, think about the profit margin on a wedge.
Amazing.
Literally, it's like a $3 head of lettuce. You quarter it, you dump some blue cheese on it, but the bacon has to be good. It can't be some bullshit bacon. And obviously, they made good cured bacon.
Yeah.
What steak did you get?
I got the dry aged ribeye.
What size? The old 96er.
I think it was whatever the $85 one was. I don't know. It was like 16 ounces or something, but it was
good?
It was tasty. Yeah, it was good. And then I had never had like the little tomato sauce, and my dad dropped a knowledge bomb on me. He was like, "Oh, that's
with steak."
Yeah, he's like, they were like, you can have navy bean soup, or you can have chilled tomato juice, or you can have some other thing.
You didn't get the lobster bisque. I heard that was a pro tip.
I can't do lobster. I'm allergic to it, so I had to choose between tomato juice and navy bean soup, and I was feeling the tomato juice. And my dad was like, "Yeah, that's a big thing in steakhouses, old school steakhouses. You always would get a cup of tomato juice." So like, just another example, like generations passing knowledge to each other. It's a mutual exchange. It's great.
I love it. And who are you looking forward to hearing or seeing and speaking today?
I mean, Tim Tebow was fantastic today. Yeah, he was just talking
Did
about.
you talk about his first time?
He did not talk about his first time. He talked about just persevering and being. I think what resonated most with me was he said, success is about you, significance is about other people. You can choose what you want to be.
I like that.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Success is about you, significance is about other people.
And you have a choice, right? Do you want to chase success and make it about you and always be thinking about your success, or do you want to be significant in the lives of other people? And I think it's pretty incredible to think about like this 2-time Heisman Trophy winner talking about how he had more meaningful, trips over to Africa, seeing kids that are starving and struggling, and wanting to do more for them than he did in the NFL, right? And I think it's an interesting dynamic. Who else? I mean, I saw Kathy Hackle yesterday, which was awesome.
Yeah, she's super cool.
I met Betty from Deadfellas, which was cool. She's a badass.
Very approachable.
She is. I'm looking forward to seeing Snowfro today talk for a full duration on the Veecon stage, because he's obviously a legend in the space.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good day. We're gonna finish strong here. Liam, where can folks find you? Where can they connect with you?
LinkedIn is my place, I'm on Twitter as Darmination and Instagram Liam Darmody, but LinkedIn is where I spend the most of my time, and you can always reach out to me, follow me there, or connect. I'm always happy to have a conversation with forward-thinking folks just like you.
Liam Darmody in the house, day 3. Let's do it. Tell us who you are and what you do, man.
Just co-founder of Cool Cats. This is my buddy Merv. He's on the Cool Cats team too. We just events winding down. We walked over to this booth because the Pokemon cards were calling our names the other day, so we wanted to feel something.
Yeah, what are you feeling, man?
That we can't grow up ever.
But that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Nobody.
I love Kraken Packs. I love doing it when my V-Friends come. I did it with my daughter. It brought me back to where I was. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say hello to this guy. Tell everyone who you are.
Smell this? What's that smell like?
Fresh crack.
Yeah, I'm
Dream, sorry. I want to talk about the Cool Cats brand a little bit, but let me introduce this
I'm
guy.
Bennett. Yeah, I run biz dev for Macroverse, digital comics, Web 2 and Web 3. Hello. Yeah.
And what's exciting you guys right now through these cards that you're flipping? What are you looking to find right now? What are you looking to flip?
What's
Dude,
anyone looking for?
I'm just trying to feel something. I remember doing this as a
shiny.
kid.
Yo,
and
it's
this
Jack, dude.
Oh yeah, it is Jack. Yeah,
Those
I
are
actually
our-
feel
our
like I'm like a
teammates,
child
man.
right now.
You
It's
are-
weird. Like you forget about these memories.
child.
Like I mean, we like NFTs because it's
Yeah,
like we
the
collect
ho-
stuff
the
digitally, but this is
holocha.
like physical.
The hollow chip. Okay.
Man, I got
okay.
this one, Wing Attack. I remember Wing Attack always from the game too.
Dude, smell those real quick. That's.
Oh, I remember the
remember
smell
that?
too. It's such a specific smell. It is
We
visceral.
need to make a cologne that's just like fresh cracked pack.
Fresh crack. Here, you hear it here first on the podcast. So, Cool Cats is a project that I've been following for a long time. For everyone out there, tell us a little bit about Cool Cats. What's the ethos? What's the mission?
So Cool Cats is inclusive and accessible. It's based on a character called Blue Cat that was designed by Klon, who's the illustrator of Cool Cats. We went to school together, but he'd been working on the character since high school. So Blue Cat's not a guy or a girl. Blue Cat's just Blue Cat. It channels the energy of Klon. It's about just celebrating life and joy and spreading cheer. It's the Hello Kitty on the blockchain. So we're about a year and a half old. We got a balloon in the Macy's Day Parade that's going to happen.
That's a big deal.
This year. It's a really big deal. It's a really big deal.
The V-Friend in the parade this year.
Is there? No. There was. We beat them out the competition.
Oh, so they didn't get in. Oh yeah, there was a competition. I thought.
Bend the knee to the cat, whether you like it or not.
One NFT project to have a balloon. One NFT project to have a balloon. So it was by community voting, and then Cool Cats ended up coming up on top.
Who showed up the most? The cats. So here we go.
So tell us about the community. What makes your community special?
Oh man, I mean, I think a lot of crypto NFT space. It's unfortunately like I think crypto innately has like a undertone of like degenerate sort of cool guy. I'm on a yacht vibe.
With my ape.
Yeah, with my ape. Yeah, and it's sort of like anon, like eh. And I think for the cats did a good job of introducing to the market, like invalidating the cool and cute aesthetic that's very inclusive and accessible. And I think that's also we've factually had a fundamental influence on just about every collection out here. So what was the question?
Yeah, let's talk about inclusivity. How is the project? Oh yeah, let's just.
You can.
How do you promote equity,
I mean,
inclusion?
the art within and of itself. I mean, it all boils down to the assets and the attributes. You know, what I mean, there's no violence or blood or drugs or anything. It's relatable. You know, and you also feel something when you look at Hello Kitty for the first time, or Pikachu for the first time, or Mickey Mouse. Like you could tell there's soul in there. You know what I mean? When you crack a pack and get a smell, feel good. It brings joy to you. So I think that's channeled within the ethos and the DNA within the cats, and because it's Klon's character, like he put himself into it. And a lot of people, I think, that don't realize is like a lot of these collections that are out. They're not based on a character. They're thematically designed around an animal, perhaps, or like an idea of a character. But Blue Cat has existed historically before any of these jokers. Before CryptoPunks existed, Blue Cat was in Klon's notebook. You know what I mean? So like, it's on us to tell the story and perpetuate the story of Blue Cat.
What are you guys building in the bear market right now?
We got a few games in production right now. I won't spill too many beans, but Animoca is one of our partners, so they're a big umbrella company that have a lot of different what's the phrase?
They're like a conglomerate kind of, but they're like attached to a lot of the main movers into space. But also we just dropped a new collection, Shadow Wolves, which is kind of like the dark side of Cool Cats. And like kind of the same thing, like Cool Cats was developed over 10 years, right? I think that's why people really, really resonate. They feel like the work that Klon put into the character. But then Shadow Wolves, he put a lot of time, and our art team too. And like people really are resonating with that side, I think.
And everybody loves a story, you need a good guy for a bad guy to fight. So with Cool Cats is more like safe and vanilla, and Shadow Wolves is more like the chocolate flavor of, it's gonna be the vessel for us to have conflict. It's like perpetuates the story that people can be intrigued by. So
I love it. And where can folks find Cool Cats?
You already know, CoolCatsNFT.com, Cool Cats on Twitter. Just search Cool Cats and you'll get there. Yeah, you'll find it.
Awesome, guys.
We like the cats.
Thanks, guys.
What has been one of the biggest challenges in moving this project forward? Maybe a stumbling block that you didn't anticipate that potentially caused you to find a solution that is helping innovate moving forward?
Well, so the big innovations that we've done have really been around just integrating Web3 into an Unreal Engine environment. So you can treat it as if it were a normal video game avatar engine, but it's all NFTs. So you can mint, unmint, change, remint, go back onto the blockchain, all for free.
Tom, we're saying a lot of words here that
half my audience is going to understand because they're complete degens and they've been involved in the space for a long
And
time.
half have no idea
And
what
then
we're talking
my
about.
mom and dad are going to listen in the car in Boynton Beach, Florida, and they're going to say, what the fuck is Tom talking about? Let's pull it back a little bit. And I don't think everybody, including my mom, needs to know how the sausage is made.
Sure.
They just need to know how it works. So you look at like Roblox and Fortnite and other games out there. How is that going to be different? How is this going to be different than that?
So the big way is AR and AI are really going to change the way that you interact. So when you talk to a character and it has its own personality, it remembers you over time, that it will respond to you differently based on the digital assets that you own. So an easy way for your mom and dad to think about it is based on what you're wearing in the game, the characters in the game will respond differently to you. And then they'll have a sense of history with you.
And is that history? Is that saved on chain or is it external servers? I'm getting
that stuff. Like now we're back into how the sausage is made.
Yeah,
here.
I'm curious of myself, and this is for Kevin out there because Kevin wants to know that.
That's not the right place for the blockchain. So the blockchain it's going to secure your assets, but it's just way too cumbersome to try to store things like that on the blockchain. And I'm not somebody, I don't believe that decentralization is what makes Web3 Web3.
What makes Web3 Web3?
The blockchain brings the properties of the physical world into the virtual world. Period. Stop. End of story. That's all that matters. From my perspective, from an entertainment perspective, that's all I need. That's all I care about.
I want to talk for a moment about toxicity on the internet and toxicity in Web3, and especially when it comes to the degen mindset and the gambling and the meme coins and the shit coins out there. What's your thoughts and recommendations out there for people to dip their toes in the water, be safe, but not be double mortgaging their house?
Only buy things that you want to own and hold, that you want to engage with. Again, my extreme bias is from the entertainment side. I think the SEC will obliterate anything that is done for financial reasons. So that's just going to go away, in my opinion.
Correct.
Also, I think while it brought attention to the space, and I'm super grateful for it, it won't be the model that allows us to move forward and reach mass adoption.
What is going to be the key to mass adoption?
It is really just to understand one simple fact, that the blockchain is a technology. Everything that emerges out of it, that will be interesting. And people will come up with a million things that the blockchain can do better. But you need to be building something that is both different and better. And I think that because the world is becoming more digital and because the blockchain allows you to bring the properties of physics into the digital realm, that is a watershed moment. That makes me laugh when people say, oh, that Web3 thing is dumb or it's dead. It's like, no, it was a fundamental paradigm shift that will continue to echo forever.
I love your relationship with your wife. I love how you and Lisa go out there and you talk about the hard times, how you work through it. And I'm going to post this on my socials later when we air it. But this is a picture, if I could get it to access. The 9 lessons we learned over 17 years. I'm going to go through a couple of them real quick and just give us a hot take. Number 1, have sex often.
Facts.
And babe, when I get home Sunday night, I love you.
Yeah, no, man, I think it's really important. And you can very quickly, there's something called bed death in a relationship where you're still together, maybe you're raising kids, but you're not having sex anymore. And it really changes not only the dynamic of the relationship, but nature has optimized this whole sequence, and sex releases certain neurochemicals.
Stress relief,
but it's also bonding. And so if you really want to feel connected to somebody, if you're not having a romantic partner, obviously, and you're not having sex, you are missing out on the massive amount of neurochemistry that's going to keep you feeling deeply connected to that person.
Something that's interesting, what do you call it, pillow talk? Like after, there's very open and honest conversations. Chemically speaking, can you speak to that? Have you done any research of like why those conversations right after the end of sex, when sex is completed, what is it in the chemical neurons that just open up really vulnerable conversations?
Yeah, so two of the hormones that pump post-orgasm are oxytocin and vasopressin, and these are the bonding hormones. So you feel more trust and you feel connected to that person. So you're far more likely to be open to a deeper communication because you feel trusting, because you feel warm and connected. It's just look, there are some conversations you don't necessarily want to start right after you just had sex. But
let me tell you what's happening in the bank accounts in the car. Right
exactly. This would be one I'd avoid.
The boiler's broken. I don't need to hear that right now. Which leads us to communicates obsessively. This is critical. Every time I see our friends' relationships fail, it comes down to a lack of communication. It seems obvious, but what? Just go back to what you were saying before. This paralysis of being in this comfort zone, or like falling back on bad habits after a long period of time together?
I think where communication breaks down is that people don't define words. So they think they mean the same thing, but they really don't. And then the other one is most people don't understand themselves. And so if you don't understand yourself and you're like yelling at this person and saying like, I've told you this 100 times, in those moments, I will always ask my wife, say what you mean in a single sentence without any commas or run-ons or parentheticals. And usually when somebody is at their most frustrated that the other person isn't getting it, it's because they can't explain their own thought succinctly.
My wife has said that to me a number of times. And Tom Bilyeu, last but not least, this is my masterclass. I get to interview amazing folks like you over the last 5 years, 275 episodes. This is how I absorb. I used to love to read. I don't have that much time now with the kids, and maybe I'm not prioritizing, but this is my alpha, and it goes in here through osmosis. So I would love if you could share with me and my audience the single greatest piece of advice that you have ever received that you take action on every single day.
Best advice I've ever received. So everything's going to come down to what I've read. So if you'll let me count the things that I've read as good advice, that would be to learn something new every day.
Awesome. Tom Bilyeu, I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for being an inspiration. Thank you for keeping it real, man. And thank you for creating. And thank you for joining us on the podcast and the Immutable Mindset. Tom Bilyeu, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Gala Games, Gala Music, the Gala Empire. Tell us what Gala is all about.
Oh, Gala is all about a lot of things that people care about. Decentralization, ownership, creativity, fun, play, entrepreneurialism, disruption. And the games business is probably what we're best known for. Mm-hmm. We've been in games for, almost since the beginning, I would say Web3. We were definitely one of the forerunners for games. And that is turning, I wouldn't say an empire, because empires are run by one or two people right at the top.
And we're talking about decentralization, democratization.
Exactly.
So let's get into decentralization and democratization. And let's start with music. And one of my favorite things about Web3 now is that fans can now truly own a piece of their favorite musician's music, and not just own it, but be part of it. And it's changing the game from a royalties perspective, a fan loyalty perspective. I'd love if you could share a little bit more about what that means to you, the organization, and for the products.
Yeah, I'm going to be a bit controversial here and not completely agree with you.
Go for it.
I hate the idea of artists losing their stuff, even to fans. Fans are wonderful, and we have artists referring to themselves as being fan dependent now, which is nice rather than independent. But an artist needs to hold on to their rights. That's where the music industry, I think, has really robbed people of the chance so far.
Where is the balance? Where is that right mix? Is it not everything? Maybe certain things. Maybe if it's it's so crazy. We've really moved away so much from the 12, 15 track LPs to now one-off releases here. I mean, that changes it also, right? So where is that happy medium, or at least a testable proposition to figure out what that balance is? And obviously, it's gonna be different for every artist, every genre, every fan base, what level that artist is in their career. But what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think you're really close when you started talking about the older formats, right? So when you used to buy CDs, when you used to buy records, you owned those, but you didn't own the actual rights to the art that was on those records,
You could
right?
flip them out and do what you want with it.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was yours to trade, but you weren't taking a piece of that artist with you. So what we've done in Web3 is very similar to that. So you can come in, you are a track owner, and every time that track is played on our decentralized 25,000 strong node network, yes, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The host, the node owner gets paid. The track owner gets paid because they're allowing you to listen to their track, and the artist gets paid. And the brilliant thing about that is when listeners come in, guess what? They don't get paid, but they get rewards and incentives as well. So it's this really lovely mix where everybody wins, but you don't get into, and we've seen it from a few other, and there's plenty of space in this space right now, but from a few other companies where you can get in a lot of hot water around royalties. And so we've avoided that entire mess with the idea that you can still take a piece of ownership and be rewarded for it, but without encroaching on the artist's rights or on the record label. So loyalty is an interesting one, right? Because you're only loyal to things that you want. generally speaking? And how do you make people want to continue feeling like they're recognized, that they're rewarded, that they're cared for? And so with music and with games, I think it's that idea of whatever you're putting in, you're getting something of value out. And when you stop putting things in, you're able to transfer that value elsewhere. And I think that's really important, because that's what ownership is essentially all about. It's giving you power and giving you influence and giving you the respect to say, hey, you've come and played this game. You've come and you've gone up 50 levels, or you've come and you've bought this artist track when they were maybe, and with Gala Music, we have different levels of artists. So the quantity of a track goes up as their popularity increases, because obviously economics 101, right? So loyalty for me is something that it's not a freaking IOU. It's not a promise for the future. It's an instantaneous experience that you can access as a fan.
I absolutely love that take. So let's talk about tokenization, what you guys are doing, your approach. It's a pretty broad subject. A lot of folks out there that are taking advantage of it. I mean, it kind of plays into the meme shitcoin thing too, but it's also a tremendous tool and utility for building and growing. Talk to us about your approach and what you're doing with Gala Games and Gala Music with tokenization.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because technology ends up as a bit of a buzzword, right? We don't talk about MP3s and MP4s. We talk about videos and music, right? Maybe in the other order.
No one needs to know how the sausage is made, right?
Exactly. But then in some ways, people are really enjoying with games, particularly seeing how it's made, right? Seeing the background, seeing the development process, being able to influence it. And that's something we're doing we have Gala Film as well. So something we're doing with film too, but without destroying the magic, which with film is a bit more tricky. But tokenization is nothing new in gaming. Gaming has always had tokens.
I mean, that's right.
Gems.
Look about Zelda and Mario Brothers. They were
go.
collecting the tokens,
so
right?
So gamers are completely used to, tokenization. And I think when you get to the mass adoption phase, the issue we're having is that we've started obsessing, and you will never hear us talking about NFTs and music. We talk about tracks, we talk about players, we talk about artists, we talk about release, because it's an irrelevance. And yeah, the format you're getting is an NFT so that we can reward you for owning it, but it doesn't really matter.
So let's get to that in a moment. And don't mind me reading the questions here. This is Kevin. So it's an immutable mindset question here. The ability for artists to sell their work as NFTs has been described as a potential seismic shift in the music industry, especially given how protective the industry has traditionally been over IP. How do you still see this playing out over the next few years? You've got to be careful, right? You're going to have to go through the room and make friends on the way through rather than trying to go around it, because they will shut you down and make your life a living hell. And so I think when you're pre-signing and you've got your rights and you've got your independence and you've got your freedom, it's a different ball game. And so trying to get people before they get sucked into contracts that are unfair, before they get sucked into multi-album deals, before, the accountants and lawyers are really ruling a creative sort of future, that would be better. And so the onboarding to platforms like Gala Music is incredibly important for new artists. For established artists, it's interesting, right? Because it's an untapped revenue stream that they didn't know for a record label, but for an artist, it's an ability to take a bit of control and ownership over a fan relationship that they've never had before. And they know, if they're established, people like Snoop, that their brand is what matters, and that affinity that a fan has with their brand, and you can't freaking buy that. Nope. That if you can give them access to it, if you can give the artist ability to sort of curate and augment that experience with a fan, that's where the gut punch is, to the industry, because they cannot do that right now. They don't know who the fan is. They can't interact with the fan, and they're sure as hell not in control of it. I love it. And you surmise that so nicely for everyone out there. Sara Buxton, what is the single greatest piece of advice that you have ever received that you take action on every day? A mantra, maybe something you run through your head before you start your work day, your family, your friends' day, your personal time, mental health, wellness. What's something that you repeat that gets you going in the right direction?
Always assume good intent. I think that really does keep you level. So there's two. There's always assume good intent. I think particularly we run a fully remote organization, and if you think the worst of people all the time, you would drive yourself crazy. Because some people are good at text and some people aren't.
You cannot do that these days.
Yeah. And the other one is, do not think you're better than anyone else ever. And that keeps you humble. And like the guys yesterday, like our team works so hard, and they're out on the floor. They were here since 6 a.m. and the only thing I needed to do yesterday was be out on the floor with them, because that's what you should be doing. Like,
Be
so
side
it's
by side.
yeah, be a
Be a
team,
team.
right? You win together. So, and I think that's something that the Web3 space, particularly in the early days when everyone was winning, it really felt like that. And now it's whether it was real or not, we're starting to see as things maybe aren't so easy. You are starting to see the real teams emerge now.
And that's, I mean, this, I keep using this analogy of a forest fire. And I do not mind repeating it, but I feel like this was the forest fire we needed in this industry. We burned down all the rug pulls, all the bullshit, fake freaking actors out there. And what do we have left in the ashes? We have the saplings that are rising, these projects that are meant to be.
Yeah.
And then we have the oaks that were always going to be there strong and remain tall. And that's where
I
we're up to
like
right
that.
now.
That's nice. I mean, a bit
borrow it.
depressing about the fire bit, but the
You know what?
the new stuff is
think,
good.
I think you need
as
to
long
a
as the
little bit
animals
extreme.
were okay.
Oh, yeah, no,
Like,
the
as
animals
long
are
as,
not
like, the
part of this
bunnies
forest
were
fire.
fine.
It was an animal that's forest fire.
Okay, it's
There's no
fine.
endangered species, even the vegetation. It was
Everything
fine.
worked out.
It's just a
Good.
very
That's fine.
hypothetical.
Like you might know, I like find
It's a-
happy endings, fairy tales.
It's
I'm dressed as a fairy plum,
and everyone's
sort of
fit. I mean,
mother
the
here.
fashion here has been out of control. Everyone is showing up here. So tell everyone what Base is.
Yeah, so Base is an Ethereum layer 2 blockchain. The whole idea is we've built all these incredibly powerful new kinds of applications on Ethereum, things like the ability to save, spend, support your favorite creators with NFTs, but all those things have been really expensive to do.
Right.
And so what Base does is it makes it 10 to 100 times cheaper and makes it way easier as well. And so that's the whole idea. It's take those incredible apps that everyone's starting to use and make them so cheap that anyone anywhere in the world can access them.
Right. And just hot take right now. Why the hell is ETH so high? Why gas fees so high? They're out of control.
Gas fees are high. I mean, it's Pepe. Pepe is driving the gas
Fucking
fees up.
shitcoins,
But
man.
like, this is kind of exactly what we expect from the e-scaling strategy.
And what is that for noobs out there like myself?
Yeah.
who don't
So
know?
basically, like 2 years ago, Ethereum said, hey, the way we're going to lower fees on Ethereum is we're going to do layer 2s on top of Ethereum, like Base. And so the Ethereum fees are going to keep getting expensive. They're going to keep being expensive. But then people are going to be able to use the same apps that they would want to use on Ethereum on Base and other layer 2s. And so the plan is kind of working exactly as we expect. We're in this little kind of in-between period where the layer 2s aren't quite as mature, aren't quite as rolled out as they need to be. But I think in the next few months, that's going to really start to change.
And I appreciate you sharing that perspective for folks out there. I mean, how would I explain what Coinbase is to my mom?
Yeah, I think Coinbase is...
Sorry, Mom, I'm using it as an example all weekend, but if you're watching this, Mom, it's because of love. And I want you to know what your son does for a living, and I have somebody else explain it.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hack here.
Yeah, I'd say what Coinbase does is there's a whole new world of apps that are being built. And those apps are kind of like the apps on your iPhone, but they're available to anyone in the world. They enable really powerful new things with money, and they're accessible through Coinbase. And so Coinbase is kind of like the App Store for this entirely new
Love it.
wave of apps that are being built.
I'm a big fan and proponent of Coinbase myself. Let's talk about your background a little bit. What do you love about working at Coinbase?
What do I love about working at Coinbase? I mean, I've now been at Coinbase for 6.5 years, which is incredible.
You're an OG, man.
OG. I spent 4.5 years growing all of our retail businesses. So Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Wallet on the engineering side, and then the last 2 years working towards Base. I'd say the thing I love most about Coinbase is like I've been given a huge amount of autonomy and trust to just build. I was a founder before I came into Coinbase.
They give you the tools. They understand that you don't need to be micromanaged.
Exactly.
They want to foster. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bases, we'll call it an incubator within. An incubator accelerator within it with all the resources and tools. So they know that these are founders and their ethos and mode is back up a little bit. Let me build and give me what I need, and it'll be a lot better relationship
100%.
and a happier Jesse.
And that's been the way it's been. Like when I interviewed at Coinbase, every single person I talked to was a founder. And that was like, for me, whoa, these are my people. And then over the last 6.5 years, it's continued to be the case where most of the people I've been working with have been founders in the past. And the ethos that we all bring is like that same feeling of ownership, autonomy, just like build cool shit and make an impact.
It's such an interesting outtake because it's a take because you think in an organization, like if you're looking from the outside, like, listen, it's almost like herding cats. If we put all these founders in a room, they're going to want to go rogue. They're going to want to do their own thing. But it actually created such a unique environment of innovation and cross collaboration. Talk to us a little bit about what that internal think tank cross collaboration is. Are you fully tapped in with everybody? Are you A/B testing, like doing some beta shit with people?
Yeah, I'd say at this point, I'm very, very deeply interconnected with pretty much every part of the business. And I think this is one of the really powerful things about Base is because Base is kind of a developer platform where people build applications, every part of Coinbase can use it. So our consumer products can use it, our institutional products can use it, like our growth team can use it, our trading team can use it. And so that's this like moment where I get to just go work with all these people who I've known for 6 years at this point and be like, hey, I have this incredibly powerful new thing that's going to make your life easier, that's going to help you achieve your goals, that's going to make your product better. And it's been so fun. Like literally in the last few weeks, I've gone to, I think like 8, 9 different team offsites where it was the other team having an offsite and they were like, hey, can you come talk about Base? And I came, we just got to shoot the shit, talk about what is Base, how is it going to impact you, how is it going to help you be more successful? And people are just so fired up. People are fired up to transform the business from kind of the Web 2 world that it was when it started in 2012 into this new on-chain, fully smart contract driven business that's going to be in the future.
I love this perspective. Jesse, let's talk about security. I think that's the biggest risk right now and the biggest hesitation to bringing people on board, because those are the negative headlines are what's, the mainstream's like, shit, I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose my stuff. I have to actually, which is so crazy to think about. I have a seed phrase and it's supposed to be fully digital and they tell me to write it down and hide it. Like under my mattress, what is this all about? Talk to me. What are some of the concerns that you have from an insider perspective, but also a consumer perspective? And what are some of the things that Coinbase and Base are doing to help smooth that over?
Yeah, I think security is such an important thing. We have to get people comfortable storing money on chain, and if we can't get people to do that, then we're gonna have a hard time getting them to transact and save and borrow and earn and do all these things that we expect. And so I'd say like the thing that we're primarily focused on is building tools that make it so users can't make mistakes, right? So a recent example of this on the Coinbase side,
how to not fat finger, right? Or I'm literally using sometimes copy and paste from my wallet address. Like you could like just fat finger something and send it to freaking Guam.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like an example of this is we rolled out a whole experience in Coinbase Wallet where we kind of work with the broader community to identify things that are fraudulent or phishing. And if you go to a website like that and you try and transact, we'll just put up a big page that says, hey, this is known phishing, and you'll have to confirm that you have to engage with it. And so that's like preventing users from being able to make the mistake. So I think that's one big part of it. And I think the other big part of it is giving the user tools so that they can kind of make better decisions as they are moving through this economy. And so for instance, another example of that is, right now we in Coinbase Wallet, if you're going to do a transaction, we'll say, hey, when you do this transaction, it's going to subtract X from your ETH balance.
This is what's going to happen.
This is exactly what happens. This is how it changes. Then you have to confirm that that's what you expect. And I think that sort of kind of intuitive experience where people actually get to understand and see what's happening rather than being a black box is going to help people get more comfortable with the way it works.
That is fascinating. Let's get a couple of hot takes here. We're still so early.
We're still early, but I think the positive thing that gets me really excited is it feels like all the pieces are now here and they just need to click. And I think that click is going to happen faster than people expect.
What do you think that moment's going to be?
I think it's this summer.
But could you envision what that is? It more of a time frame perspective? Is that going to be like one, like Starbucks, is it going to change the world? Like everyone's going to be like, yay, we're on Web3.
I don't think it's
Yay, Odyssey.
I don't think it's going to be any one company. I think it's going to be creators. I think it's going to be creators who start to realize that if they bring their content on chain, they're going to get better economics for themselves because they're actually going to own the content. They're going to have more meaningful, more connected experiences with their fans. They're going to be able to do way more powerful things because they're issuing content into this incredibly powerful platform on top of which they can layer a bunch of other things. And that's going to flip in. And if you look at what's driven billions of people online, it's creators and it's content, it's TikTok, it's Instagram.
Any cultural shift goes with the artists and the musicians. That's
100%.
Let's take a question from the host of The Immutable Mindset, Kevin Logan Jr., who is not here with us today. And he says, Jesse, as Base is currently in the testnet phase, you could tell this is not my question, and I'm reading it. What have been some of the key learnings and challenges so far, and how will these experiences inform the rollout of mainnet?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen
nerds. Sorry. Okay, I love you, Kevin.
We've seen so many developers building on Base. I think that's been one of the things that's gotten us so excited. Like literally thousands, tens of thousands of people coming to build. I think a few learnings from that. One is that we're still early in terms of total developers. Like there's 30,000 people in the broader ecosystem who are on-chain developers. There's 30 million developers in the world.
That's a lot.
And so we just launched this thing called Base Camp, which is basically a whole curriculum to teach people how to become on-chain developers by learning smart contracts. You earn NFTs as you go. All about about empowerment, all about converting those 30 million into the first million on-chain developers.
Side
So I'd
question.
say, yeah.
What's the demographic of that? If you had to break it down,
It's
male, female.
You mean the developers in the world, or
in your system?
Oh, in
your ecosystem.
We don't know the exact we don't know. Like, we basically see addresses, and so we don't have the exact demographics.
Are you guys doing anything though to promote and bring more gender equity and gender equality into the Web3? Because that's a big thing, right? I'm not trying to put you on the spot or based on the spot here, but I think an organization as large and upfront and in everyone's mindset should be leading the way in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our values that we hammer home kind of all the time is this concept of bases for everyone. And I'd say the place that we're actually most focused on this right now is around geographic diversity. If you look at where crypto is being used around the world, the United States is like a smaller, but Africa is
massive.
The biggest.
That's the biggest use case too.
Southeast Asia,
finance.
basically anywhere where you have less kind of solid financial systems. And so we're running these things called base meetups, where literally in June, I think we have 8 different meetups in countries all around the world scheduled. And we're just going to keep building that. And the goal is to have 100 meetups like in the next 6 months that are all bottoms up, all organic. I'm planning to be in Africa later this year, planning to be in Asia, and just really tell the story that Base is a platform that's not just for people in the United States, it's for everyone. It's not just for finance, it's for everyone. It's not just for, pick your small thing that you care about. It's for you and it's for everyone else. And I think that openness, that is a fundamental characteristic of blockchains. And it's something that we really want to be leaning in, because that's what's going to create this open, level playing field that puts everyone on the same platform and gives them access to more economic freedom.
I love that perspective, and thank you so much for sharing it. I am with one of my favorite creators in the space for multiple reasons, Miss Nyla Hayes. And Nyla, tell everyone who you are and what you have created.
My name is Nyla Hayes. I'm a 14-year-old digital artist, founder of the Long Necky Ladies, and I created the Long Necky Ladies, which is an art project that I created when I was 12, and it's basically women with really long necks, but inspired by my love for women, the Brontosaurus dinosaur, and people from all around the world.
And I had the pleasure to meet Nyla in person for the first time last year at Veecon in Minneapolis. We had a great dinner. We met her whole family. You didn't bring the rest of them? But not this trip?
Well, we did, but we couldn't get their tickets, so.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And you've had quite the evolution as a creator, as a business, as a brand. What is the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself in the last year through your NFT creator journey?
That's a really good. I think the most important thing I learned about myself is, as an artist, I get burned out easily. So I think just taking breaks is really good for creative people. So I think I learned my limits through these 2 past years.
I have an 11-year-old daughter who loves your work, and you inspire her. And I've told you this on my show. I've told you this a million times, that you are an inspiration to many. What advice would you give my daughter, Nina, to keep creating and keep building?
Oh, well, honestly, this might sound corny, but I wanted to say, just follow what you love. Do what you love. If you change up whatever you're doing, that's totally fine. It's so cool to do multiple different things. So just do what you love and be you, basically.
Always be yourself. And Nyla, where could folks find you in the collection? Where can they connect?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at NylaCollection_NFT. That's for my Instagram, and Nyla Collection for my Twitter.
Nyla Hayes, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Crushed it.
Build deeper relationships.
And like, when I think about learning, that continues to rear its head, and that, that I need to be careful about my self-confidence, not confusing people on timing. I just know how this is going to play out, but every other thing I've ever done before was really behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like when nobody thought VaynerMedia was going to be anything, there was nobody involved in it. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like the competitors and potentially the employees, but now it's so the masses, and so I need to be thoughtful about that.
Because we have about 48 seconds left. Scooter Braun asked, I love Scooter, I got to meet him yesterday. Scooter Braun asked Jeff Bezos this question: what do you want? What does Gary Vee want? You give so much.
I want to play.
What does that mean?
It means I just want to have the freedom to do what I want to do. I just want to wake up and do what I want to do. I want to run my companies. I want to interact with my friends and family. I want to watch the Jets, and the Knicks.
I like your new boy.
And so I'm so pumped
boy.
about that. Exactly. I just want the freedom. What being successful means to me is the freedom to be able to decide what I want to do.
I agree with you, and I've learned that a lot from you. We've known each other for almost a decade. What would you tell my almost 11-year-old daughter, Nina, and my son, Oliver, knowing me, what words of advice would you give them about going out into this world?
I love that. That they're very fortunate to have you as a father. You have an incredibly sweet soul, and that no matter, every kid thinks their parents are corny. And, once they get over that era when they're in their early 20s and they're over like thinking dad's corny, like really sit down and understand the kind parts of him, because if you have them in your DNA and you excel at expressing them, your life will be happier.
I asked you the same question last year, and I want to see how it changed. What do you want everyone out there to walk away from feeling in their hearts?
That things are possible, that kindness is unstoppable and is always the wind, and that at the end of the day, things like curiosity and empathy are requirements to get to a happier place.
I love it. And last but not least, can we finally be WhatsApp friends?
Sure.
Gary, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I got something pretty cool over here.
That's very cool.
You know what that is.
I know what that is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's 3:30. I'm sorry. What time is it? I can't tell on these Apple Watches. 2:45. It's 2:45, and we're in section 105 here at Lucas Oil Field. It's our second annual, it's a tradition now, end of Veecon recap. And last year with Chris Adamo, my co-host and trusty co-pilot on our conference mission. Chris, how are you feeling?
Adam, this has been a really wonderful weekend, as it always is. A weekend of joy.
A weekend of Bernie's.
Bernie's and abundance. And I just really respect what the whole team at Veecon and VFriends has done for all of us, really. We have met so many good humans here, and the curation has been top notch. And people have been dreaming to meet for years, are just all here, and they're all open to receive. And I could not be more blessed and happy to have this experience here. And I think it's going to do wonders for all of us. And that's really the reason why I think that some of these projects are going to do well, is like if you provide this for people. And I think most people they underestimate that idea of like being the conduit. And that's what my life is about, is being the conduit. And when you can do that, people just gravitate towards you. And when you give, you tend to get back. But you give without even knowing, why sometimes. And you just know that person that you're giving to, you can judge that person just gets it. The golden rule.
Chris, you truly embody the golden rule, and obviously we have a very deep friendship, but we also have a mutual respect for each other in the business space. We lift each other up. We look for those opportunities, and I think that we're both incredible conduit connectors. And what that means for everybody out there is, and I hope I'm not speaking for you, if I see two people that should be connected and they don't know each other, I don't care if I'm going to make a dime off it or anything. I just know by connecting them that they're both going to have a better opportunity, because I believe in relationship karma. One way or another, that's going to come back in my direction. And whatever you put out in the world, it's about abundance. And for me, that's what this weekend's all about. Connecting, being a good person, being better to other people, having an open mind, an open heart, and just listening and being inspired. And you made the analogy last year that it's V Camp. It's Camp V, so to speak. What were some of your highlights from the last couple of days?
Well, I just had an amazing 2 hours with my good friend Jared, and he works with Deepak Chopra. And I've been a fan of him for 20 years. The guy's written 93 books, and 93. We walked around for 2 hours, and he just operates with just genuine joy. And people see him, and they just smile. And they stopped him, and it was like a nonstop train of just people just sharing their joyful experiences, and he's happy to receive it and provide that. And that's what I think inspires me to do that, really, is seeing how someone can impact someone else with just simple life experiences and simple life rules, right? You just operate from abundance. You don't worry or judge or you can kind of temper things sometimes, but you should be open to experiencing giving, and that for me has been how I operate, and I'm just happy that I got to really talk to him about that for a while, and he gets it. I think everyone else here gets that idea. It's like the grand premise of I think that this conference is that giving, sharing of each other.
And that's the ethos of VFriends. It Gary's core, that's what it is. So we're gonna wrap this up. It's been an amazing weekend. Chris unfortunately has to fly out. I'm going to hang around for one more night of shenanigans, and I'm going to use this tonight. I'm going to have dinner with some of my V friends, some folks that I only see a couple times a year, and we're going to connect and just see where the night goes. So everyone out there, I really hope you appreciate this content. I hope that I brought you a great creation of people, and thank you for Chris for making so many introductions that your friends are now my friends.
That's right.
And that's right. And then we're all, at the end of the day, we're all V friends, right?
We are all V friends. We're all in it together. And thank you, Adam, for always being my conduit for my wild ideas. And you always say yes. He says yes.
Always say yes. Wait, there was one more thing I kind of wanted to wrap up with here. This has been cool. I feel good in my heart. I feel good in my head. I feel good in my belly. I got some food into me. We eating our body weight Uncrustables over the last couple of days.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
But I really truly want to thank not just Gary, his entire team behind him, Maha, Lara, Rachel, everybody on the PR team, Zach Nadler, his whole crew, Lucas Oil Stadium, the staff. Everybody has just been great.
Don't forget the man Nick Dio. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Avery.
Samantha.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, AJ. Thank you to all the legends that are behind the legends. And that's
so many people it takes to make this shit happen behind us.
Truly, truly thank you for all. I mean, I can't say enough good things. I tell you all the time. You're probably sick of hearing me say it to you guys, but thank you for letting us be here and for being in this conduit.
And thank you for letting us be ourselves. For real. Like, thank you for letting us be able to express ourselves and how we feel and, like, joy and emotion and inclusiveness here. It's so much inclusiveness in every different way. And Gary, thank you for creating this universe. We love you, man.
Don't forget G. Thank you for the confidence, man. You give it to all of us. Thank you.